Now joining us, we have senior Mitchell Evans. And Mitchell, just again, congratulations. Great win last night for your Trojans on the road at Franklin Central. I know Coach calls this the drive for 5. You need 5 victories to get that state championship. So step number 1, got that sectional opener out of the way, 35-7. But just talk about this great effort last night by the Trojans.
It was an all-around effort. Our offense did really well, and our defense, this team ran a little more than other teams, and our team did well stopping the run. So I'm just happy with how our team played. Our coaches coached really well. I just love the team. We did good.
Say, Mitchell, you played as a defensive back in a safety position. Of course, Curry and the D-line gets a lot of attention, but you're kind of that quarterback, the senior in that secondary. And you've had some injuries at cornerback this year. So what do you do as a senior to try and keep that secondary on the same page?
I just try to be as vocal as possible. If we're on the same page, then that's when we do the best, and we just try our best not to get mixed up with calls and everything. And I just try to help out as much as I can. And our group has done a great job so far this year, and I don't know, I just love the DB group.
I will say also you add in Jalen Thomason this year to the mix, and what an athlete. He's all over the field making plays, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a dog. Yeah, makes so many tackles every game, and he's just a great team player.
Well, last night you get your first touchdown of the season. That was a heck of a return on that punt return, about 94, 95 yards, and phenomenal blocking. It just really developed, and you had the great vision, but I know we had Caden Curry out front blocking and many others, Jalen Thomason I think he got the punter, but just kind of walk us through that punt return.
So it was kind of weird catching on the 5-yard line because most people would say to let it go, but I don't know, I just felt like I had a good chance to take it. And then so there was 5 guys coming, or 3 or 4 guys coming at me at the beginning, so I knew if I got past them, then it would be pretty open the rest of the way. So I just made a little move right there, and then it was pretty much just blocking the rest of the way.
I would say maybe talk about what it was like last night. You had the rain. You're a 2-sport athlete. You're a baseball player. You play center field. It was almost kind of like you were playing center field and catching fly balls with the punts last night.
Yeah.
I think it's some similarities where you got to go back and make those difficult catches.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the rain going in my eyes and the wind and everything, it's definitely pretty difficult catching the punts, but I love being punt returner.
Yeah, I kind of said that last night. Is that one did kind of bounce off of you, and I said, "Man, you're looking up. You got the rain in your eyes. And plus throw in some wind, and there's a few guys coming after you as well. That's not an easy task, is it?"
No, that was I should have caught that one. I just should have backed up a little more, but yeah, pretty much.
Maybe talk real quick about your being a 2-sport athlete. That's a rare thing, especially at a bigger school, and you've done it obviously at a very, very high level with baseball and football. But maybe talk about your experience and how you've been able to balance everything, because I know there's some young athletes out there that are being told maybe, hey, just play one sport and give up on a sport and things of that nature. But maybe talk about how you've been able to manage both sports.
Well, over the summers is usually where it's the hardest with summer workouts and then travel baseball tournaments and stuff. But when I'm in football season, I'm dedicated completely to football, and then when I'm in baseball, I'm pretty much dedicated completely to baseball. And then my winter season, I'm usually getting ready for baseball, and then summer's mostly getting ready for football. So honestly, it mixes pretty well. And the coaches, they can kind of understand for me that I'm going through tough stuff with that, but it's good.
How about future plans for you? I know you're, like I said, baseball, football player. I know you want to play at the next level. Anything that you want to share at this point about the next step in your career?
Well, I got a couple offers for baseball, and then I recently got a preferred walk-on from IU for football, so I'm thinking about that too. Probably going to make a decision pretty soon. So yeah, either one of those two.
Maybe a thought or two as you get ready for Columbus North, another sectional championship opportunity for your team this Friday.
This is the most fun time of the year. We're playing for a championship the rest of the way out, and we just got to go one game at a time, and Columbus North is next. And I'm just excited to play them, excited to get ready for them this week, and it'll be a fun game.
All right, Senior Mitchell Evans, thanks a lot for joining us. All the best this Friday in the sectional championship.
Thank you.
joining us, we have Center Grove head coach Eric Moore. And Coach, first of all, congratulations. Big win last night against Franklin Central. That some say that first one might be the toughest sometimes, just getting when you start that state tournament run. And a good win. Again, not the best weather conditions, but it seems like every time we go to FC, we have to battle the rain. But the field turf was nice, but overall just a solid win for your team.
Yeah, it's a great win because it's the next game you play, and now you're down to 4 games left in the tournament. And you got to win the first one to get to the 5th one. All that stuff is always in line. But it's extremely difficult because you don't know what you're really going to have because you've taken 14 days as off, basically. We had bye week for 2 weeks. And even though you practice, you're not practicing with an intent. You start putting in a scouting report by Wednesday of last week, and then you start working on them, but you really don't know what they're going to do because they've had 2 weeks to prepare. And when you're playing a team that has nothing to lose, like anyone that plays us, you don't know, you might get, last year's, version of whatever. So it's extremely frustrating for coaches. We got out of our cycle. We were in a tremendously good cycle of being, just notorious and detailed, for 9 weeks, and then bang, you're off 2 weeks, you don't play a game. So I thought we weathered that well. I got to do a better job. I don't think I did a good enough job. I don't think we were as physical last night as we should have been. It's my fault. We should have been more physical during break. Everybody's afraid of guys getting hurt. I'm different, man. I think if a dog barks, you either kick him or you let him bark, and I think you gotta keep the dogs barking over break. So next year we may be a little more physical during our break and not take as many days off. This is an older team and they knew what to do, and I get it. But you just lose the tools of your trade. You got to tune yourself up. You have to relearn how to tackle at full speed and stuff like that. So a little disappointed that I didn't invest more time into that.
Coach, let's maybe talk about your senior last night that did a great job in that opening quarter in Mitchell Evans. He's kind of that quiet leader back there in the secondary, but that punt return for a touchdown, 90-some yards, kind of got your team rolling, I felt like, in that first quarter.
Yeah, well, for our program to win 10 straight games is amazing. And you have to have great players, and Mitchell's one of those great players. Mm-hmm. That was a product of the punt return, which might be a school record. I don't know. You're the master of all that. You may need to look that up for me if you could, please. Because I'm worried about Columbus North right now. I'm not worried about school records, but that could be one. I don't know who did it farther. But, it's a feather in the hat for the defense. The defense, stops them in the middle of the field and causes them to punt. And I just like that we have the guts and the pride to catch a football inside the 20, actually inside the 10, which you probably shouldn't. But he is an athlete, and great things do happen. And, I remember Bobby Bowden once telling Deion Sanders, well, you'll never return it 90 yards if you don't catch it inside the 10. The best guy back there. Mitch is the best guy back there. And then as a coach, when you catch a ball that's deeper than 40 yards, the punt coverage team is spread out. So you can really manipulate yourself. So first thing is secure the ball. Now, Mitch is an outstanding baseball player as well, obviously, as we know. And he's got great hand-eye coordination. That's why he's back there. So catch it and run. He's like a little stump out there trying to tackle him. He's got great strength and speed, great vision to run the football. He really feels it. He has for 3 years. Just extremely proud of him. And it's a credit to him and the coaches working with him. And the fact that, hey, it's your time. Go shine. Go make big plays. At Center Grove, I really want to preach every year and every game and every day. Practice making great plays. Visualize it when you're home sitting around. Visualize yourself making a big punt return. Visualize yourself making a big hit. Because if you don't visualize it, it's never going to happen. I'm pretty sure Mitchell visualizes himself catching those balls and trying to return every one of them. I love that. That's a great way to get the offense started. And it gets a little bit boring for the offensive guys. Sit there and watch Mitchell run 90 yards for a touchdown, but sure was fun.
Coach, with that rain last night, we talked about, the wing tee running the football, but last night I felt like Taven Jackson, maybe one of his top performances. He was very efficient with the passing game.
Yeah, he was 7 for 8 and only, didn't play much after the middle of the second quarter. We didn't really throw the ball after that. Very precise, probably in maybe his most accurate game he's been here. Mm-hmm. But I loved his warm-up. I watched him run in warm-up. He might have thrown 9 or 10 deep balls, and we caught all of them over our shoulder. I mean, he was pinpoint on it. It was raining. But you know what? That's what great quarterbacks do. But the big throw was just a hitch from one hash to the sideline, and you just don't see that in high school. He's got a big-time arm. and it was accurate, and Coy went down the sideline with it and almost scored. So, yeah, Taven was the real deal last night.
Coach, something I came up with, when your 3 W's play well, it usually results in a W, and I'm talking about Brandon Wheat and Drew Wheat and Daniel Weems. Your 3 guys with great speed. They can run. Of course, Brandon doing a great job receiving, but those 3 guys go for you here on offense. You usually get good results.
Yeah, we do. It really helps, though, when James Schott and Caden Curry knock people's heads off on the line of scrimmage. That helps you, too. Sure. And the linebackers played well, and the whole secondary did a great job last night tackling and getting people on the ground as we started. The offensive line, they did well. Offensive line in high school, you make mistakes every game, but we were better than we were worse. So we just got to keep improving on that. I think we really will. Kids ran the ball hard. Receivers caught balls. We didn't really have a drop. So I just thought it was a really good team effort for a half. Especially when you get 14-0 in the middle of the first quarter. I think our kids anyway, sense that, hey, this game may not go very much longer, so we better make some plays. Sure. And I think that helps them.
Coach, we got on that turf last night. It just really shows you had rain, but you got good turf, and your team defense, the speed is just incredible.
Yeah, isn't it such fun sport to play on that turf in high school? And think about all the kids that have to play in the fields like we did a couple weeks ago on a Cathedral game where it's mud. You can't really showcase what you can do, and especially the defensive line can't showcase because they can't get off the ball, and it's easier to block people when it's muddy. But yeah, the speed of the defense is outstanding at almost every spot. We had just have outstanding speed, and that's part of my job is to try to set that up to get those guys there, and then the coaches can teach the technique. But I got to make sure that I get guys put in the right spots so they can help us excel. And if you could play defense at Center Grove, you got to be able to run.
Coach, now you return back home. You're going to play Columbus North. They're well coached with Tim Bless. We sure love to see a big crowd. I know when the weather starts turning, with the crowd sometimes dip, but we really want to see a big crowd here come Friday for the sectional championship.
Well, I'm just telling everybody the weather's going to be great. I haven't even looked yet, but I'm just telling you it's going to be great. So just plan to come anyway and come out. It's going to be a great high school football game. Columbus North has had 3 weeks to prepare for us. They knew we were going to win. They didn't waste any time preparing for the other team. And it's going to be tough. They're going to know everything we do and how we do it. We just got to do it better. And to be successful at that, you got to think of one thing, and that's Center Grove. We got to worry about Center Grove, not about who you're playing. Yeah, we scout them. We got all that. We'll take care of that in the next 24 hours. But we got to block people. We got to tackle people. We can't tackle and let them have 4 extra yards. Those are the kind of things that keep a team like Columbus North in the game, and they have good enough talent that they can beat you in the end. So you got to knock them out hard and quick. We got to get out here. We sometimes get in a frenzy at our field. We do a great job of just making things crazy here, and I'm hoping that we can get them pinched down in the end zone and make some big defensive plays.
Coach, a little bit off topic, just a little bit here. 2 names I wrote down here that are a big part of your coaching career. Lee Corso. He coached you at IU. I just saw something on Twitter this morning. Of course, he does that game day on ESPN. I'm not for sure if there's anybody that gives back more to football than Lee Corso as a coach and now as an announcer for ESPN. The fans love him. He communicates with people so well.
Yeah, his number one skill is communication. He never let anybody feel that played for him that you weren't important. And I try to work on that. He had an unbelievable imagination. He was a good football coach. People sell him short on that. Bob Knight was the king in Bloomington at the time. He's going to cover everybody up, and I get that. Mm-hmm. It's hard to win a national championship in football from the Big Ten. There's not a tournament back then. But Coach Corso's teams were good. We had great talent on our teams that played there, and I thought he got a really raw deal. He didn't deserve to get fired. We had a winning record, and we beat Purdue that year in '82. But the thing about him, he kept things light. He kept things fun. He was serious, but he was also, he understood we were young student athletes. I'm so proud of him on that show. Yeah, he gives back, but I always thought that he had a black eye. The Big Ten never liked Lee Corso because he was Mike Leach before Mike Leach was even thought about being Mike Leach. He was anybody with enthusiasm. Right now he'd be the greatest coach in the SEC if he was still coaching because they'd want the guy that will talk on interviews and the guy that, he was not so serious that you couldn't have a great conversation with him. I remember just 1,000 stories about Lee Corso I could tell, and it's in this. I seen him 20 years ago at a physical education convention in Orlando, and he was a key speaker, and he saw me through the doorway and came over and made a big deal of it. And he always made a big deal out of you if you're a former player. He wasn't afraid to tell people that you're the guy that got him fired either, but that was fun. You know, that's just part of his funny nature. But yeah, I'm really proud of what he's done. Proud of Herb Street for keeping him alive there in that show. I know they wanted to dump him a few times, but that's not happened. So yeah, he is game day, and that's awesome. And I still remember him as the coach at Indiana, what I grew up watching and wanted to play for. And no matter what happened, I wanted to play at Indiana, and I wanted to play for Lee Corso.
And another coach, Coach Moore, I wanted to talk about that's a very big part of your program is Bill Siderwitz. He coached at Martinsville, Hall of Famer. Of course, his son Joe, part of your staff. You may not know this, Coach, but your next win, you'll tie Bill Siderwitz for the same number of career wins, and that's pretty good company.
Well, I did not know that. I don't look at numbers, and I'm sure Bill Siderwitz probably has no idea, nor does he care. But I'm sure he cares about us winning because he wants us to win every game as well. When you grow up and you don't have a dad and you go into coaching with no root system and you have to move away like I had to go to Florida to learn the trade because I wanted to try to learn in the best situation. And I said, I'm going to earn a job when I get to Florida. They're not going to hire me because I'm a Florida kid. It took a lot of courage for Charlotte High School to hire a kid from Indiana and make him a head coach. And then I moved back up here right when things are going well down there. I pull up and move up here. I only had 2 jobs. That's a Lee Corso thing. I remember him saying once, don't be a jumper if you're going to be a coach. Go somewhere and put down a traditional and put your roots in. And I started to do that in Charlotte, but I just missed Indiana too much with my family. So I come back up here, and Joe Siderwitz was coaching at Martinsville with Bill. And I remember we played him a couple of years and getting to see him again. And hadn't really seen Coach Bill since we played at Indiana. He'd come in all the time in the coaching offices and talk, and it was just a great relationship. And then I get here, and Joe and I had been friends for a long time before that. And then Joe leaves there and calls me, and I'm like, absolutely. And I didn't realize I was getting Joe and Bill, and it's just been a fun relationship for me. I needed that older gentleman to, tell me this or tell me that, or maybe run things off of, and just to know, respect of the great coaches in the past. And I'm so lucky and honored that I've been able to share our program with Joe Siderwitz and Bill Siderwitz and make Bill feel like this is his second home. Watching his grandson play quarterback for us, Joey, and be undefeated state champions meant a lot to me. In some ways that meant more to me than watching my own kid play. But and still talking to Bill on a regular basis. And the greatest thing about Bill Siderwitz is no matter how big the win is unless it's a state championship and he can't get to you on the field because they don't let people on the field, every other time he can get to you after the game within 10 minutes, and he'll grab me with those freaking huge Paul Bear hands and grab my arm and say, all right, forget about this game. It's time to move on to the next one. You go, well, daggone, Bill, I'd like to enjoy it for at least 20 minutes. And that's this classic Bill Siderwitz, though. And I all the players that played for him, you look at that, man, I hope my players remember me and treasure me like they treasure him.
Coach Moore, appreciate your time. Good win last night against Franklin Central. Good luck in the sectional championship.
Thank you very much. It's 24 in a row for the Trojans and 10 in a row this season. 10 wins is huge for any team in any sport, actually, and we're proud to represent Center Grove High School in the community and come out and see us play. Could be the last game of the season. You don't know. The last game of the season won, or it could be the last game of the season at Ray Skillman Stadium. So you never know what you're playing for in the tournament. So please come out and see your Trojans and that mighty red team. Go Trojans, beat Columbus North Bulldogs.